Welcome to No One Asked, the podcast where we talk about things literally no one asked us about. I'm Julie Barritt.
And I'm Sarah Wilkes. We're two friends, two realtors, and way too many opinions.
Life, real estate, and whatever chaos shows up.
No one asked, but we're saying it anyway.
Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Julie. We are back.
We are recording another podcast, and we're going to pull something from
The rabbit hole. I'm so glad you got that right this time. Okay, so I have my glasses on this time so I don't have to struggle to see it. But, for anybody who has just joined us, we have a selection we call the rabbit hole that we choose a topic out of. We're unscripted, just off the cuff. So here we go.
Yeah, just throughout the week, we just throw different ideas in this little bowl. And
yes. Our topic for today, buyer versus seller. Online estimates versus, I can't talk. One more time. Let's start over. I think it's your writing, which is funny because mine's normally the bad one.
Yeah.
Buyer versus seller, online estimates versus real market value, price it high versus price it right, repairs before listings versus sell as is, cosmetic issues, big deal or no. I'm going to keep this out to refer to it because there's a lot of information in there. I'm going to go with the easy one that's on here first. Online estimates versus real market value.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many tools at everyone's fingertips now with all these different websites that give value.
Zestimates.
Yes.
You hear that term a lot. Or they'll say Z estimate or Zestimate. My favorite's when they say Zulia or instead of Trulia, or it's funny. But anyway, Zestimates.
Yeah. So can they be accurate? Of course they could. But if the house hasn't sold since 1970,
and there's been some modifications or updates or whatever,
or not been updates.
Yes.
That factors into a lot.
Yes. And so what I think they do, I don't actually know personally what they do, but what I think they do is they take houses that have sold around the area. The difference in the Zillow estimates, I think, versus when we do real market value for people, they are looking just at that one neighborhood, houses that have sold in that one neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And you may have a neighborhood that's very uniform and they're all, 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms or 3 bathrooms with 3 levels, whatever. But then you get into a lot of subdivisions that it's just like, every house is something different. And so when you have different styles, different square footage, different everything, you can't really value them all exactly the same. I guess I'm saying that right.
It doesn't go off of real life as far as like us getting our eyes in on the property. It
right.
just goes off of this market data. So like if a house down the street from me sells for $300,000, it doesn't mean that I'm going to get $300,000.
Absolutely.
I might get more because of the updates I've done. Or I might make less, a lot of things factor into that.
And a lot of people will go off of their tax assessments or their PVA values, and they only update every so often. So that's not one that we hear as much,
Mm-hmm.
but we do see that whenever buyers are looking at buying, they want to know what it's assessed for.
Yes.
You can't use that because most of the time they are supposed to assess every 4 years. They can assess sooner if a lot of houses have sold in that area. But whenever the assessments come in, when a house first sells, it is going to be what that house sold for because that is the market value of that house.
Mm-hmm.
If the house hasn't sold in 20 years, that tax assessment is probably not going to be completely accurate.
Mm-hmm.
So for buyers who are looking at that, that's not going to be relevant for the most part unless it just sold 6 months ago or a year ago.
Yeah, nor any estimate you see online.
No.
Because like you can't take into consideration a house that was built in 1970 to be the exact same value as a house that was built in 2026.
Oh, absolutely. New construction is not even a comparable, really, in my opinion, to any existing home.
No, but if it was built in 1970 and completely gutted and redone, that Zestimate might still have a
1970 price tag.
Right. And then when it goes listed, then buyers are going to say, hey, well, it's only valued at $90,000. Why is it being sold for $220,000?
And because Zillow and a lot of those places have public records,
Mm-hmm.
like they show it, what it was sold for, when it was sold, how many times it's been listed. It gives you all the information. But if you see something that seems completely off, one, it could be they're just really shooting for the moon on that
Right,
one.
right.
Or contact your realtor and say, okay, so this sold, 2 years ago. Now it's 100,000 more. What's happened?
Mhm.
And they can give you a good estimate on that. And, sometimes I'll have buyers who are not from this area or who are first time, like, I don't want to pay too much. I'll do a market analysis for them on the house they're wanting to buy.
Mhm.
That way they feel good about it, whatever
Mhm.
that comes back at. So, and the other thing that I remember someone telling me a good way to speak on estimates or online values is that, Zillow doesn't come in your home.
Exactly.
They don't know that you have Formica
Right.
or granite.
Right.
They don't know that you spent $50,000 on hardwood. They might think you have carpet. They have no idea. So you need a professional, whether it be a realtor or an appraiser. And there is a difference in a market analysis and an appraisal, just
Yes.
FYI. But if you want a realtor, we are not appraisers. We give you a comparable market analysis, which tells you basically what you can kind of expect to get for your house and with houses that have sold within the last 12 months.
Right.
So it's a little bit different, but it's still a good tool, I
Well,
think.
we're also out there and we know what buyers are looking for.
Right.
The more things there for a buyer to see, the more they're deducting,
Oh, and they don't
price.
deduct real estimates.
No.
They'll just be like, okay, so I think this needs some new
Let's
paint.
not.
Let's take this down 10,000.
Right.
No, it's not. I mean,
Right.
unless you have a 5,000 square foot house and whatever.
No.
But a lot of times you want to try. This kind of leads into the cosmetics.
There we go. We'll go right into
Yeah, we'll go
that.
in that. This kind of is where you want to go ahead and make your house as show ready as you can, so that people don't start that deduction the second they walk
Yes.
in the front door.
Yes. Yes. And it surprises me so much on how many times people don't want to paint. They're like, I don't want to paint. I'm gonna offer 10, like you said, 10 grand less because I have to paint this wall.
Yeah, I remember when I bought my first house, I was just so excited to have one. It had wallpaper, it had carpet, it
Yeah.
wasn't cute, but
I've
I was
stripped.
happy. I didn't care.
Yeah.
And what buyers want now, I say this all the time. They either want move in ready, will pay top dollar, don't want to have to do anything, or they want to feel like they stole it.
Mm-hmm.
Most houses are going to fall in between those two.
So when I bought my house, like I did the same thing, like stripped wallpaper, painted. YouTube was not a thing back then, so I just had to figure it out and go with whatever. If I messed it up, I messed it up and try to figure it out. But and I get, like, in today's time, everybody's so busy. You don't want to spend your time working on your safe haven.
True.
You don't want to spend all your time coming home from work, going to games and all that kind of stuff, and then coming home and still having to do work in the
Or
house.
if you're someone who starts projects and don't finish them,
Yeah.
I can identify with
Yeah.
that.
So I
It's not going
totally
to happen.
respect that when they don't want to really have to do anything. And I try to get my sellers to understand, like, spend $200 on some paint and paint supplies, smack some paint on it.
Yes, there's that, but then I also will tell sellers a lot of times don't do anything because when you start doing one thing, it's going to open up a whole
It
Pandora's
depends. Yeah,
box.
it
So it's
depends.
definitely very specific to the house.
Yes.
And that is why you want to contact a realtor before you
Yes.
start doing anything.
I had this this one client of mine, and they had a house to sell, and the house was beautiful, but one bedroom had painted stripes all the way around. And I said, "Can you paint this room?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Great. If you paint it," because everything else was great, because they were doing it for sale by owner and they could not get any bites. So they painted the room, we listed it, and that weekend, on Mother's Day weekend, it went under contract. Now, it could have been the look of the draw, but also when everything else was just so nice and, like, aesthetically clean and neutral, and then you walk into this bedroom and it was,
Pink stripes.
yeah, yeah, and I get it, like, they did it because that's what they liked, but when you go to market, you gotta be very neutral, and you can't, like, have too many personalities going on.
So I have to tell the story because it just hit me funny. We're talking about, some things you do and some things you don't. Did you ever show the house that looked like a medieval castle in the basement? Did you ever show that?
I'm thinking I wanna say yes.
Yeah, it was listed and, the house was a little bit dated everywhere, but, it had a basement. It was a lot of square footage. You go in the basement and it was literally like a medieval castle.
Mhm.
Now, on that note, I would say leave it because there was no way
Right.
if you,
You
I
start one
mean,
thing, it's just gonna keep
I was
going
so
on, going
intrigued
on.
by that house. I like different, but it
We
was
do like
I
different.
mean, yeah, we like weird. But that one was like so just when we're talking about things that you wanna do some things if it's gonna be easy, but
You don't open a can of worms
that
and
would have been
then
opening a
yes.
whole thing. And
Yes.
so then instead of $200 for paint, you're looking at $10,000. And
Yes.
so you just need to take that into consideration that not everybody wants to be in a castle.
Right. I
I mean,
do.
I do. I would like to live in one today. But not everybody wants to go downstairs and think that, there's not there. I think there was a night suit down there even.
I think
There
so.
was,
It's been
right?
a long time, right?
Yeah, and not
Yeah.
yes, I think
Yeah.
so. 10 years, maybe.
Yeah. I think I have seen
Yeah.
that
So,
one.
like, if you have something like that going on, obviously leave it and just understand that not everybody's going to love
And it's
that.
yeah, it's just like case by case. And then there's been times that I've went to a listing appointment and a seller has been like, "Hey, I'm going to do all of this to get it ready for market." And I'm like, "Why?
Hmm.
You don't need to do all that." I mean, you need to do it what buyers are looking for. Do what buyers are looking for, but sometimes sellers want to do a whole lot and it won't make any difference.
Yeah. And I had one too that wanted to replace some flooring. And this house happened to be in a floodplain,
Mhm.
which just that's another whole sidebar conversation. But,
Right.
it wasn't going to bring the value to redo the flooring, and it wasn't bad.
Right.
Like, he just was very OCD about some things, and he wanted to do it. I'm like, "Please
Just
don't.
leave it alone.
Just don't.
Yeah.
Just leave it the way it is. Do
Right.
not do it." And he didn't, but it was a struggle because he really
Mhm.
wanted to.
Mhm.
So that's the other reason why, yes, you can try to sell it on your own if you want, but, we can give you tips on what to do. So that's why one of the reasons to contact a realtor.
Right. Okay, what's something else
Oh,
on that list?
okay. Okay. Price it high versus price it right.
Oh.
So this one's a tough one. Because here's the thing, I will always tell you what I think you can get for the house. Most of the time I'm right, honestly. I mean, I'm not trying to say I'm always right because I'm not.
No, but we look at the numbers and we
Yes.
know the market.
But I have been proven wrong and I have been very surprised.
I have too.
I have one client who I tell her all the time, "Yep, I guess I just don't even know. So you did
Mhm.
it right." She
Mhm.
got way more than I thought she would. So I
Mhm.
was, like I said, we're humbled every now and then,
Mhm.
but for the most part, we're right a
Mhm.
lot, or at least in the range.
Right.
So
But it also depends, let me go back to that. It also depends on the timing. Because
oh
if we
yeah,
tell you something now and give you an estimated price range and you wait 6 months,
it could be totally
it's
different.
going to be totally different. Even 3 months can be totally different.
Oh yeah, there's been within the last 5 years, there's been hot and cold.
Oh,
Definitely,
for sure.
last year was just like crickets for the first 4 months. I
Mhm.
mean, it was just wild. So if you price it high. Okay, so when we say price high, are we
Mhm.
saying just a little high or are we saying shoot the moon high?
I feel like shoot the moon high.
Yeah, just don't.
Yeah.
I mean, well, now that one client I had did,
Right.
and she got it. But for the most part, what I tell people when they price higher than what I want,
Mhm.
I just tell them, we can price it there. That's fine. But if we don't have any showings or if we have tons of showings and no offers,
Right.
then we need to look at what the feedback is. And if there's nothing really negative other than price or nothing negative at all, then it must be price.
Right.
So you don't want to leave it that high that long. You want to come down. But again, we're always going to tell you it's up to you.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
can give you the tools and our opinions, but this is your show. You do what you want. So I think pricing it right's better, unless you just have time.
Because sometimes if you price it right, you end up sometimes getting more,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, well, that's what happened on my on that
Yeah.
one we've referenced recently. So, yes. Sometimes you get more, sometimes there's a bidding more, which FYI, I hate those. Julie likes them.
I love them.
I do not at all. She loves them. I'm just like, "Nope,
I
Julie,
do.
just take over because
Yeah.
I don't like them."
I love them.
Okay. Repairs before listing versus selling as is. Okay. The
That one can be tricky. It depends on what kind of repairs. Say we're just saying minimal repairs, chipped paint, that type of thing. Because our area is so enriched with VA loans and
FHA.
FHA and USDA loans, so we know there's certain things that an appraiser is going to require for it to be approved for that loan type. So things like that, as long as the house will go FHA and
Mhm.
VA and all that, I would say yes, but sometimes there's situations where you just sell it as is.
Yeah,
It
but
dep
using the term as is,
It's
just
scary.
well, people think there must be something wrong. We
Yes.
can tell them all day long, no, the seller's just not going to make repairs.
Mhm.
But even if they sign a contract for the seller said selling as is, they still can have an
They
inspection
can.
and they are still going to ask you to make repairs.
Yep.
It's just going to happen.
Yep.
And you can say no because you warned them that you were
Mhm.
going to say no.
Mhm.
But just saying that you're going to sell as is doesn't necessarily mean that they're just like, okay, sure, let me just sign the dotted line right now.
Right, right. And sometimes it depends on the seller situation. Sometimes they're just tapped
Hmm.
and they just need to get rid of it. So that's why we price it like we price it and we say selling as is. You just know what you're going to be getting. Have
Exactly.
an inspection and you can move forward or walk away. Simple
Mhm.
as that.
Well, even if you have selling as is, again, we were talking about that can still have the inspections. And the inspector's job is to go through and give you a total picture of the house.
Right.
It's not necessarily saying you have to fix all these things. It's not
Right.
passing inspection. You're the one that
You're the one that has to
decides.
decide.
You
Yes.
decide if it
Yes.
passes your inspection checklist.
Right.
So we get a lot of crazy requests sometimes. What is the most unreasonable or wildest inspection request you've
I
gotten?
would say the most unreasonable one that I had, the buyers asked for the seller to completely tear off and rebuild the porch. And
Was it broken?
no, it was perfectly fine. It was concrete. Concrete had a couple little hairline cracks in it. Concrete
Cracks.
cracks. I mean, it just does. And the inspector noted it, because that's their job to note everything about the
Like
house.
trip hazard or there's some cracking or
Yeah,
whatever.
it was smooth. And they're like, we don't like the cracks. We want it redone. I'm like, would you just want it because you can skim coat it? You want
Right.
skim coated? No, we want the whole thing
Hmm.
torn off.
Off the house.
Yes. What? Who? What? I'm sorry.
But I
No.
saw the cracks when I looked at
Yes.
it.
Yes. Yes. And I was like, you guys just want out. Like,
Yeah. So, and when something like that happens, when it's something that they've seen and
mm-hmm.
it's not like I had one recently that was something they had seen, but whenever they got estimates to fix it, it was way more involved. So they opted out because
Mm-hmm.
they found out it was going to be more. They were
Mm-hmm.
willing to do it themselves until they got the estimates.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's something they saw before they went in, like,
Right. Oh,
why are we asking
my
for it
favorite
later?
one is when they ask for the light switch covers to be replaced or changed out or something like that.
Really?
Yes. Have you not had that?
No. I've had a
Yes.
lot of weird things, but I haven't had that one.
Oh, I'm like, it's a 36-cent fix with
Why
a
would they want
flathead
that?
screwdriver. Like,
So did you go change them?
no.
I figured you might have.
I mean, I wasn't going to let that kill the deal, but I was just like, guys, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Well, and so when you get estimates from people that are not in this area as well, they charge travel time if you get these
Right.
big corporations. And we have a lot of people that can fix locally. But I think I have one house that they wanted tons and tons of crawl space work, and they wanted their quote done, and it was like $40,000.
Gosh.
And it ended up getting fixed for like less than
A
10 or
fraction.
7,
Right.
so I
I
think,
love our local vendors.
oh, they're
I love
great.
our local contractors.
Yeah, I love that we can say, hey, I need you to go check this out. And the thing is, we would use them on our houses.
Oh,
Like, we
yes.
trust them, we
Yes.
value them. Shout out to everybody. If you're listening and you're one of our people,
Yes.
we love you.
I have a whole list, and I'm
Yes.
like, call any of these people. I have personally used them. Like, go for it.
And I've had some people, when the inspection comes back, they want everything fixed, not the ones in red that are, dangerous or
Right.
harmful.
Right.
Everything.
Like the light switch covers.
Or, so when they read these inspections, they talk about non-grounded outlets
Oh, yeah.
and how they don't have a ground. Now, to completely fix that, you would have to rewire the entire home, including what's in the walls.
Mm-hmm.
That's just probably not going to happen, nor do you want it to happen, because then you're going to have to patch and paint, and you're going to have, making that sheetrock or plaster or whatever it is look the same again. It's going to take a lot of time, and then there's just a whole lot to that. But that's probably one, rewire the whole house.
Rewire the whole house. Yeah.
Yep. Even when it's already on breaker, but they want the inside wires and the walls redone.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That one's a tough
Or
one.
replace the HVAC unit. Why?
Because it's nearing the end of its life
right.
expectancy. That's what they say.
Yes.
So you could have an air unit that's 10 years old working fine, and we'll have buyers like, I'll need that replaced.
Was there something wrong with it? No. It's just nearing its life
It
expectancy.
says to budget for one in the future. That's
Right.
just giving you a helpful hint, buddy.
Right. That's just called home ownership.
Yes. Yes. So, oh, and this is totally a sidebar, but I sold a house recently that the water heater, 31 years old.
Still kicking?
Still kicking.
Oh, yeah.
That company should use that as a advertisement because 31 years old.
Yeah.
It could go out at any time. And I told my buyer, listen, this is 31 years old, but it's working. And I need to call him and see if it's gone out yet because
I bet it hasn't.
31 years.
Listen.
You can't go off of that.
No.
Can't. So.
No, that's amazing. Like going back to they just don't make things like they used to anymore. When
I first got started in real estate, there was a furnace we had an inspection on, and it was like 55 years old. The furnace was. I can't make this up. And the inspector said, maybe it was just 50. The inspector's like, I want to tell you that this isn't working and it needs to be replaced. He's like, but it's working like a dream.
Yeah.
He was like, I can't say it's not working. I can't say it's going to work tomorrow.
Right.
But it's working.
Yeah.
So that's something we do tell our buyers a lot of times, or, whenever they discuss inspections with us. If it's not broken, they're probably not going to allow for it as long as it's functioning.
Right.
But, so that's something to kind of consider as well. But that's probably off topic.
On the flip side for sellers, I like to give them that up front. Like, just know this might come on the home inspection report. You know, it might be if your heat and air is 10 years old and they're going to say near its life. Don't be surprised if you get that on the request to replace. You just say no, know, because it's working at the time.
I think we've covered everything on our little list. If I can see it correctly, I didn't put my glasses on.
If you hold it far enough away from me, I can read it just fine.
There you go.
Yep.
I think that covers pretty much everything. But with all of these things, of course, I'm going to have to say this. If you call one of us or call your realtor of your choice, let them come see it. Whether it's you're selling or you're buying, let us come and help you with that.
Right.
Let us, if you're looking at those estimates or the values, and I'll have people ask me all day long about them. And I'm like, well, I can run some comparables for you, even if I haven't been in the house. But I do always follow up with, okay, I haven't been in it.
Yes.
So this is face value. This could be completely different once I step inside.
For sure.
Funniest story ever. Probably not, but I was in real estate. It was really early on, and this lady called me. She's like, oh, I've been living here and I've done all these things. It's amazing. And goes into just everything she's done. I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be great.
Oh, no.
I walked in and there weren't walls finished. It was exposed. The stairway was just the 2x4s and no sheetrock was finished. There weren't kitchen cabinets in it, I don't think. And so the price I had in my head that I was going to tell her based on what she had told me was oh, so were those things you're going to do? Or, she's like, oh no, I've already done it all. Okay. So then you're like, well, I'm going to go back.
I'm going to go back. Yeah.
That's why I hardly ever give a value before I've been inside.
Yes.
I have had that come back to bite me way too much.
Oh, I know. I always like to go and I'll take pictures. I'm like, I'm only going to take pictures just so I can remember when I go back, look back at the pictures and stuff like that. But I've had that happen too. And you're just like, oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
pivot.
But that's their castle. And, I learned a long time ago not to place my standards on what someone else's is.
No.
I've been very humbled a few times. And it's not like I'm saying I have the, highest standards ever, but it's amazing what you can see and what you learn from people every day. And so, like I said, I never place what I think is a standard is for someone else.
No, me either.
Anymore. I did it once and it was like, nope. I did it once. It was a no.
Lesson learned on that one.
And I still love these people to death, but they taught me a very valuable lesson. But we'll get into that another time. So I think we have our rabbit hole discussion covered.
And until next time, no one asked.
But we're saying it anyway. Well, we said what we said.
We'll do it again next time. No one asked.